Right. So norms provide restrictions about something to do and which not to do. Right. Restrictions about to do and not to do. So it can mold our behavior and gives us the knowledge about wrong and right. Something about giving guidance on wrong and right, or what to do and not to do. Okay. The other component is the value. Can see the value under the components of the culture. Value. So value can be also it's not like a symbol, right? It cannot be touched, or it's not something physical. It's again something physical, and we cannot see it, but it's in our life. Values, what we value things, anything getting importance in our daily life. The values can be basic or fundamental beliefs that guide or motive attitudes or actions. Okay. So basic and fundamental beliefs. Which can guide or motivate our attitudes or actions. So they help us to determine what is important to us. Our value describe the personal qualities we choose to embody to guide our actions. The sort of person we want to be, kind of these things, sort of person we want to be, what is required by the society, right? What is required by society, what is accepted or recognized by the society, those are called values. And if we cannot be those type of person, we will not be a valuable person to the society. And the manner in which we treat ourselves. We treat ourselves and others. How we had to treat ourselves and other people in the society. And how we had to interact with the world around us. The values, it guides us, so it provides how we should interact with the society, right? So they also providing the general guidelines for the conduct. It's actually same with the norms. Right. The other component is a beliefs. Belief can be a sub-component in some components, but we take this as a separate component in the cultures. Every section within a culture having some beliefs for a cultural defeat. The beliefs are responsible for the spiritual fulfillment of needs and wants. Well, the beliefs are something like responsible for the fulfillment of the spiritual needs and wants. Some examples are given here. Look at the examples. The Muslims, the Islamic people, they have a belief in God. But they believe in God, O Holy Prophet. So according to that belief, they observe certain ceremonies, certain days to observe the Holy Prophet, like Ramazan and Hajj festival, and going to Quran, Holy Quran, observing the Quran, like that's kind of things. And these are based on their beliefs. Also, you may have seen there's another example, Sikh. In Indian culture, we can see there's a, society, separate sub-society called Sikh. The Sikh people, they wear bangles in one hand and also wear a long bow, keeping a dagger. We have seen they have to wear a certain uh, bangle on their hand and the head also. They have to cover up their head, right? The Sikh, even some cricketers are there. They also playing with this kind of wearings. Even at the playing cricket, they can't remove these wearings. Sikh people, right? And also Sikh culture, that society type, some considered as some uh, highest kind of a group of people. They have some higher recognition than other people, Sikh people. If we take Christians, they have a belief that if they wear a cross on their neck, or keep some kind of a cross with their bags or somewhere in their vehicles, it will save us. It will save, right? Also Hindus, they have belief that having a shower of Ganga river, it is very safe, right? That kind of beliefs. And different beliefs are there. And another component, the cognitive element. Cognitive element. It's another component. Cognitive element, the final component we already discussed now, all the 5 components. The final one is a cognitive element. Cognitive element is also very much hidden. Even it is not seenable as beliefs or norms, such things, right? Because in the cognitive elements, it is something in our mind, we call. Cognitive elements is something in our mind. Uh, so the cognitive element, we can say that this culture are those through which an individual know how to cope with an existing social situation. Um, it comes with this situation, right? Yeah, it comes with the situation. Situationally, how we act using our mind. It's like a kind of a brainstorm, right? How to survive, how to make shelter from storms or other natural calamities, how to travel, transport. So practical knowledge, or sometimes it can be comes with in personal experiences, or with the knowledge, the cognitive element can be developed. Or sometimes it comes with inborn abilities. Right? Such knowledge is carefully taught to every generation, and it is also shared in the culture. Some cognitive elements. Sometimes cognitive elements can be innovative from the personal judgment. Now we will look at what are the reasons behind developing culture. What are the causes behind the determining culture? I already explained some of these things. These components, like the cultural components, can be the result of these things, these factors. What are the factors? Religion, right? So some cultural effects are a result of a religion, right? As we already discussed that there's some belief with different religious beliefs are there, right? Islamic beliefs are different, Hinduism, they have it based on their religion. Some are there social structure, called the social structure. Now, these are norms, especially. Some norms are there. It is a social structure. Now, Western culture is different. They have different norms. Asian culture is different. They have different norms. It's according to their social structure, right? And also, language is another factor which affect to different components. Language. Education. The educational background also forming the cultural components. Especially in the cognitive element. Cognitive, what we already discussed at the final, as a final component. The cognitive element is developed with the education of a person, right? And economic and political philosophies also can form the cultures. Right. So keep in mind what are the reasons or causes or determinants or the factors affecting the culture. This can be questioned in different ways, right? Can be asked as determinants, factors, causes, right? Right. Then we will go to the second part of the culture. What are the critical issues in cross-cultural themes? Now, in the business world, we have to work with the people come from different cultures. Now, according to cultural backgrounds, the people have different behaviors, right? With the different behaviors, definitely, there can be critical issues when we are working with the people, right? So, critical issues, we can identify this type of critical issue. If we have various cultural people in our work teams, right? One is communication problem. The different cultural people, they may use different languages, no? So one can use different language and we can't understand their language, and there are different pronunciations differences. So there is a communication problem. The thing we cannot communicate in between the people, right? The different working cultures, yeah. Different working cultures are there for the different cultures. Decision-making conflicts. Negative cultural stereotypes and prejudice. And increasing stress and the driving opinion. Let's see whatever the communication problem. If you ask me to explain the communication problems, we already discussed now. With the communication barriers, the thing we have to transmit among the people can be misinterpreted or misunderstood, right? If the language barrier is there, misunderstanding and misinterpretation. These are the language basic problems. So depending on the nature of the misunderstanding, it can lead to tension and arguments in all kinds of relationships because of a misunderstanding. Right? The problem is what? Language, communication problem, language barrier. So, we will look at what is this communication means first. Okay, it can be the hardest role to break down in the multicultural working environment. For example, some members lack of fluency in teams, dominant language or the communication style of their own country. Sometimes the language may be same, but as I told you, the pronunciation of the language may be also vary according to their country. Sometimes all are speaking English, but some English pronunciations, we call that accent, may be different. The accent of Indian English or UK English, American, Australian, different. The accent is different. Because of the accent, we can't get the idea what they are trying to spell. Then there can be misunderstanding or conflicts between people, right? And it's also explained here, the trouble with fluency and accent. When non-native speakers struggle to find the right word, the team might not take their point of view seriously, right? Yeah, non-native speakers, they struggle to speak, right? As Sri Lankans. Sri Lankans, they are not fluent in English because they are not non-native speakers. They are not English speakers by born, right? We are Sri Lankans. We are speaking Sinhala. When we are using the English, it's a struggle actually. Right? Very difficult to speak in English, very fluent, as we are non-natives. The members who are fluent in the teens, dominant language people, they may dominate among the ideas when they share the ideas. Right? The other minority people who speak other languages, they couldn't share their ideas well. This is the thing. So this can create the frustration, tension. Even in Sri Lanka, we can see this problem where actually earlier there is a problem. Even it's it may have cause for the war in Sri Lanka. Because Sri Lanka, there was a 30 years of war. One cause for this war is this communication problems. Because Tamil people, they can't understand Sinhalese. The majority people are in Sri Lanka is Sinhala. Sinhalese, they talk Sinhala, and the Tamils or the minorities, they can't understand. They can't go to an office, government office, right? Because other people, they can't share their ideas. They can't request anything. They do know only Tamil language. So this is one kind of a reason for the war in Sri Lanka, because they request to use their language. They request their privilege of using their own languages, Tamil, even in the government offices and in education system, there should be a right to use their language, right? Right. So there can be direct and indirect communication. In communication also, even using the language, this can be seen, the difference can be separately seen even within Western and the Asian culture. The Western culture, they tend to speak directly. We call the Western culture, they use direct communication. It means that they don't hide anything. They are very open to speak. They share the ideas very openly. Right? And it is considered more polite to be indirect. Actually, but in Asian countries, what we believe, politeness is hiding. No? In Sri Lanka or any other Asian type countries now, the opposite. The direct communication is very prohibited and not believed as polite. But in Western countries, it's the opposite. Western countries, they are very open. If you want to scold someone, you can very openly say, I don't like you. I don't do this. I don't like you. Likewise, right? I'm jealous of you. Like that, in direct communication ways in Western culture, they directly convey their ideas. But in Asian cultures, do we say that I don't like you? I'm jealous of you, like that words. We don't use suddenly, to the people. Yeah, we are hiding. We are hiding things when we are convey something. It's about even with the base of their cultures. The different work cultures. Different work cultures. The work culture is the beliefs, customs, and the behavioral group of people within a work environment. Now, we already discussed about the societies. Now, the societies, we have different cultures. But you may have seen certain work groups. Sometimes this different from office to office, or sometimes department to department. There can be different work cultures. The group of people in the work environment, they share same beliefs, customs, norms, and the behavior. This is the reason for it. Such as teams, department, organization, and so on. Some organizations even they have their own culture. Now, for an example, the office, government offices, or public office. If we take small example as a banks, what is the culture following by the government banks or public banks? I'm not saying the names here, right? Public banks, they have their different work cultures, no? But in private banks, they are very polite, they welcome very friendly way to the people who are coming as their clients in the private banks. I think that's their culture. But in public banks, when we go to the public bank, they don't welcome us, right? There may be some strict behavior in public banks. So it is created through the behavior of everyone working in the organization, from the CEO to the entry-level employees. Okay. Right. And this is another area which can be questioned. Flat and formal hierarchy of organizational structures. What do you call flat structure? Flat structure. Yes. The flat structure, sometimes it can be better, but sometimes it's not good. Because in flat structures, there can be failures of some members to honor the expectation, because all are treated in the same way in a flat structure. So this can happen some humiliation, so loss of state and the credibility sometimes, right? Another issue in the flat structure is this is less likely to speak up, right? This could be challenging for the individuals from polite or differential cultures like the Asian culture. They may just feel less comfortable to make their voice to be heard. As I already discussed now, Asian cultures, they hide things. They don't like to open up their words directly, right? They have indirect speech kind of thing, right? They share ideas. They indirectly convey ideas. Especially if they are new in the team or have a junior role, there can be humiliations. So injustices in these flat structures. But in a formal hierarchy structures, those kind of uh, disadvantages are minimized because there is a hierarchy from top to bottom or bottom to top. And the team members are expected to be treated differently according to the states of the corporation, according to their position. And also, in the Western or the Scandinavian countries, they used both the flat and the hierarchy as a combination. Okay. Then decision-making conflicts. The working in multicultural teams also facing difference in how decisions are made and how much is required by the teammates beforehand. So according to different beliefs, different ideas based on their different cultures, there can be conflicts in between the members of a work team, right? For example, someone who prefers making decisions quickly may grow frustrated with those who need more time. Right? Some may have use more time to make decisions, and some other people with their culture, they use very quick methods. Examples: US managers are known like to make decisions very quickly. United States, the managers take decisions very quickly. But relatively, managers of Asian countries, they use very hierarchical models to take the final decision. So it may take very lengthy time, sometimes 1 year or more than 1 year. Sometimes. So there can be conflicts. And some other thing is the negative cultural stereotypes and prejudices. In social psychology, actually, stereotype is a kind of a fixed or overgenerous belief about the particular group or class of people. So by stereotyping, we infer that person has a whole range of characteristics and abilities that we assume all members of that group have. Stereotype mean and the stereotype mean we similarize all the people in that society by only looking at or knowing about one quality of a one person of that uh, range of or the group of people. So we similarize all as same, right? There can be advantages as well as disadvantage. The advantage of stereotype is it enables us to respond rapidly to the situation, because we already know this is the kind of similarity between this group of people. But this is not good, because even in the same society, person to person, they may have their own unique qualities, right? But here we just assume all are same in that society. All may have same qualities, right? The disadvantage is making generalization. It is a disadvantage because the people may differ from person to person. The negative kind of stereotype can be seriously disruptive to company moral and can also affect productivity, because if a person of certain culture, we assume that they are not good, they are very tidy, they are not clear, they are blacks. Likewise, if it is generalized a negative kind of a stereotype, it will affect definitely the moral or the motivation of the people, right? And finally, it will have a bad impact on the productivity of the company. It's a kind of a humiliation, negative culture stereotype. What do you mean by the prejudices? Prejudices. The prejudice is then unjustified or incorrect attitude. So negative attitude on some group of people. And it is unjustified and incorrect. It can be a negative attitude, but it cannot be unjustified. Being unjustified and incorrect opinion, right? It's not good for the other party. It's unjustified. It's අසාධාරණ ක්‍රමයට මොකක් හරි ඍණාත්මක ආකල්පයක් වෙන කෙනෙක් ගැන තියන් වෙන පුද්ගලයෙක්. ඔය මොකක් හරි කල්චර් එකේ කෙනෙක් ගැන අසාධාරණ විදිහට මේ නෙගටිව් එකක් අපි තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා. නෙගටිව් මේ පොයින්ට් එකක් අපිට තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. But it has become, if it has become unjustified, අසාධාරණ වුණොත් ඒක අන්න ඒ වගේ ඒකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ prejudices කියලා. Right? For example, a person may hold prejudice views towards a certain race or gender. Especially in Sri Lanka, we can see, this kind of prejudices. Because Sri Lanka is a combination of different races. So we have some prejudices views for their race and gender. Discrimination is the behavior of actions negative towards individual group of people, especially based on sex, race, social class. Right? ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ gender එක, ආගම, ජාතිය, ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ society එකේ තියෙන සමාජ මට්ටම අනුව ඒගොල්ලන් discriminate කරන එක වගේ දෙයක් prejudices කියලා කියන්නේ. The work group එකත් ඒ වගේම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. And the last is the increase of stress and driving opinion. So this can increase the stress. The link between stress and the driving performance stress can also cause physical symptoms. Right? This can be cultural tensions. They have physical symptoms. We can be cultural tensions physically end up පුළුවන් ඒක symptoms or mentally symptoms end up පුළුවන්. The physical symptoms තමයි such as headaches, aches, muscle tensions, sweating, දාඩිය දානවා, ඔළුව කැක්කුම එනවා, muscle pains, ඒ වගේ දේවල්, increasing heart rate, heart attacks, different aches. likewise, vomiting, good things, right? And also this can have impact on the mental stress. Mental stress can be happening, right? Finally, we have to discuss the group work, how to manage the groups or the teams, right? Um, and the third part is the national culture and the communication styles. So the national culture is a collective mental programming of a society. So all the things I explained here, what is national culture? It's a norm, behavior, beliefs, customs, and the values, what we already discussed as the culture, as we define in the culture. Here we applied it to the certain population of a nation. If it is applied by the certain population or the whole nation, we call it it's a national culture, national wide. Example, Chinese or Canadian national culture. Right? So even in the national culture, we can see that there is these are components, national components are there. Language, it can be spoken or unspoken. The different communication styles are there, direct, indirect, elaborate. Mm. Personal versus contextual style, instrumental versus effective style. So these are more explained in the note, right? So you can go through this. What are the differences in different types of styles of language? Actually, this is for your additional knowledge. So you can go